Christian McCaffrey has no chance of winning the MVP.
Probably not.
It's going to go to a quarterback, especially if Russell Wilson, by the way, continues to perform how he's performing. They're going to give it to Russell Wilson strictly because go Hawks at the end of every interview.
2012, last running back, Adrian Peterson.
7 years ago, very different world. Now we live in a quarterback-driven world. They're the ones making $200 million, $150 million. They're the ones that are doing everything on media, basically, aside from a retired punter that maybe gets a little gig. They're the ones that are interviewed. They're the league. And for good reason. If you have a good one, your team's good. That's just ipso facto. Mm-hmm. If this, then this. If good quarterback, good team. That's just kind of how it goes. Now, granted, you might have a couple downfalls. I think that was my chair that just that was very loud. So Russell Wilson will definitely end up winning it regardless. Or another quarterback that comes out of nowhere and does incredibly well. I just don't think the NFL has it in them to give it to anybody other than a quarterback because that would affect everything about the NFL. That would change the way that running backs have to be treated when it comes to contracts. It would change the way that NFL teams have to view their running back. It would change everything. And the running backs, by the way, are a position that was once very, very, very important to the NFL. 2012, whenever Adrian Peterson won that, running backs were in peak. I don't know if it was 2012 as peak, but back in the day, running backs were the position. Fantasy football used to be like, yo, draft a running back, get a running back. I didn't even play fantasy football, but all I ever heard was, got to get a running back early because there's only so many good ones. They get the ball there, blah, blah, blah. Now it is 100% a quarterback league. That's just the way it goes. The way the rules were changed, it's become easier to throw the ball. It's become easier to accrue yards and points by throwing it. So the running backs kind of started slipping down. Le'Veon Bell said, nah, dog, I'm worth my value. I'm worth my value. What a line. I am worth more than what they are valuing me at. He held out. Then Melvin Gordon, then Ezekiel Elliott. And now to think that a running back in Christian McCaffrey would win MVP, I think is a bit outrageous knowing that the NFL is a business. It will always be a business. But the fact that his name is getting involved in that conversation is incredible. Not only for running backs, but for positions other than quarterback to potentially get a little praise. Aaron Donald probably should have won that thing last year. I mean, Aaron Donald wrecking games. He was as close as we could get to it. But Christian McCaffrey comes from a lineage that he is a freak athlete who just so happens to be born for this entire operation. His dad, Ed McCaffrey, played with John Elway in the Broncos for a long time, was a star at Stanford, was a Super Bowl champ and an All-Pro. That's his father. His mom, incredible soccer player at Stanford. Okay, so his parents are both freak athletes. By the way, to play Division I soccer, not easy.
He has said that his mom is a better athlete than his dad.
There we go. So it's not easy to play Division I soccer. You know what else it isn't easy to do? How about Division I basketball? Both of his dad's sister and dad's brother played Division I basketball. His sister, his aunt played for Georgetown. His uncle played for Duke and then Vandy. So I don't know what happened with Coach K, but something happened. He ended up going to Vandy. His mom's grandpa, Christian McCaffrey's mom's dad, so his grandpa, Olympic sprinter, won the silver medal in the 100-yard dash as a Caucasian. That doesn't happen.
Nothing to sneeze at.
Christian McCaffrey has literal professional athletic lineage. Not that he's the only one. There's a lot of brothers we've talked about that are in the league together. There's a lot of families that are football. But whenever you have that many high caliber athletes in your family tree, you can assume that the person's going to be a freak. And Ed McCaffrey, people forget this,
6'5".
6'5", animal of a man. And it's not just, you can't just be born into being an incredible NFL running back. You have to earn it. Christian McCaffrey's earned it every single step of the way. Very quiet, too. Seems to be a cool guy on camera. Whenever I watch that thing on Amazon with the Carolina Panthers, seems to be a good guy in the locker room. He's been around it his entire life. John Elway is basically an uncle to him, I would assume, since Ed McCaffrey was John Elway's guy. He's been around the locker room. He understands how to act. He understands how to conduct himself. He understands how to work, and it's all paying off for Christian McCaffrey. When I saw him striding out this past weekend, that was the first time I think I said, oh, this dude is an animal. And that team, without Cam Newton, who decides whether or not Christian McCaffrey gets the ball on those zone reads, who decides whether or not he gets the rock, has been thriving without Cam Newton at quarterback. Kyle Allen, I think his first game he had 400 yards. I'm not sure how he's done since, but the fact that Christian McCaffrey is the go-to guy on that team is making the Carolina Panthers right now a better football team. If Cam Newton comes back somehow, I don't know how it'll happen at this point. If they continue to have success, it's going to be hard to bring him back in, especially with everything that goes on with Cam Newton. Is Cam Newton going to be able to keep feeding Christian McCaffrey? Is Cam Newton going to be able to say, okay, this isn't my team anymore. This is this running back from Stanford's team, and I need to keep feeding him the rock. That offensive line deserves a lot of credit. Anytime a running back does well, you need to talk about the offensive line. Will that offensive line tell Cam Newton, hey, when you weren't playing, when you were dealing with Mrs. Frank there on your foot, we were running the ball all over people with this Christian McCaffrey guy. He's our guy. I just don't know if that's the case. I think Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton's days are done. I think he's going to move forward. I think they're going to move forward. He's going to play good football somewhere else because he's going to have a chip on his shoulder again. He's going to have to prove himself. But I just feel like right now at this point, it's Christian McCaffrey's team, and it's going to be tough to get Cam Newton back into the fold of things.
And the thing about Christian McCaffrey is he never comes off the field. Before this week, the backup running back had 4 snaps. Christian McCaffrey was in for every other play this season.
And the conversation would be, well, can his body stand it? Can his body withstand the beatdown that you get whenever you play every single snap for an offense in the NFL, especially at the running back position where people are just teeing off on you? I guess we're going to find out, but that's where it goes back to his lineage. He has a family and a body that is built to be a professional athlete. From his aunts and his uncles to his grandpa to his parents, everybody's an athlete in his family, and this type of body is potentially what's going to lead him through the whole thing. But he's a throwback running back. He's on the field all the time. He's good with blitz pickup, they say. He's good at everything. He does all the intangibles. And if he can't win the MVP, if he continues on the way he is, we all just need to understand, ain't nobody other than a quarterback is going to win the MVP forever. And I fear that that's just how it's going to be, dog. The NFL is going to give that to a quarterback regardless, but I like the thought that Christian McCaffrey's in the conversation.